Any day I come back and don't see food, you're leaving this house.
But you didn't give me money for food.
I don't care.
The ceiling fan in their bedroom had been broken for 3 months. Ada knew this because she had counted every night she lay on her back, staring up at it, watching it hang there like a promise that never moved. Outside, the Lego's heat pressed against the zinc roof like a flat iron. Inside, she was 8 months pregnant and soaked through her nightgown, waiting for a door that would eventually bang open. She always knew when Emeka was close before she heard him. There was a smell. Palm wine, cheap gin, the smoke of a buka where men sat and talked loudly about nothing. That smell would creep under the door first, then the gate, then his footsteps, heavy and uneven, hitting the concrete in the wrong rhythm. Tonight was no different. Bang! The door swung open so hard it bounced back and nearly hit him. "You're still awake," he said, not a question, an accusation. Ada said nothing. She had learned that speaking at this hour was like throwing fuel into a fire and then asking why everything was burning. Emeka dropped into the wooden chair by the door. He was still handsome. God help her, he was still handsome. Broad shoulders, a jaw she had once held between her palms and kissed until they were both breathless. That was 4 years ago, before the drinking, before the job he lost and never looked for again, before she became pregnant and suddenly invisible to him. "There's food on the stove," Ada said quietly. He laughed, a dry, ugly sound. "Food." He shook his head like she had told a bad joke. "That is all you know. Food. Like I'm your child." "You haven't eaten since morning." "How do you know when I ate?" He stood up. The chair scraped the floor. "Are you following me now? You and your big stomach following me?" Ada pressed her hand to her belly. The baby moved, a slow rolling push against her ribs, like a small fist asking, "What is happening out there?" "Emeka, please, I'm tired." "You're tired. I am the one who is tired. Tired of this house, tired of your face, tired of," he waved his hand at her stomach, "all of this." She turned her face toward the wall. She cried without sound. She had learned that too. In the morning, her neighbor, Mrs. Chukwu, came with a kata wrapped in newspaper, still warm. She was a round woman with sharp eyes that missed nothing. She sat across from Ada at the kitchen table and watched her eat with the concentration of someone watching a person walk near the edge of something high. "You have people," Mrs. Chukwu said finally. "Your mother is in Unugu. Your brother is in Abuja. Call them." Ada peeled a piece of akata carefully. "He will change." "Ada, he wasn't always like this. When I met him—" "When you met him, he had a job and something to prove." Mrs. Chukwu leaned forward. "Now he has nothing and no one to blame except you. That is a dangerous man. That is not a man who changes." Ada looked at the table. "The baby is coming in 3 weeks," Mrs. Chukwu said, softer now. "Your blood pressure, you told me yourself the doctor said watch it. Stress is not a small thing. Stress can kill, Ada. It can kill you or it can kill that child." "He's my husband." Mrs. Chukwu stood slowly. She looked at Ada for a long moment, the kind of look that carries all the words a person decides not to say because they've already said them too many times. At the door, she turned back. "I have buried 2 neighbors in 10 years. Both of them were also waiting for their husbands to change." She left the newspaper on the table. Ada sat alone in the kitchen until the akata was cold. The worst night came on a Thursday. Ada had woken at 2 a.m. with a headache that didn't feel like a headache. It felt like something pressing from inside her skull, something that wanted out. Her vision had a shimmer to it, like heat rising off road tar. She sat up slowly, breathing. Her ankles were swollen so badly she hadn't been able to wear shoes in 2 weeks. She needed water. She moved through the dark hallway, one hand on the wall, the other on her belly, talking to the baby without words, just breath, just presence. The living room light was on. Emeka was home, asleep in the chair, mouth open, a bottle loose in his hand, still dreaming whatever it is that men like him dream about. Ada looked at him for a long time. She thought about the wedding photo on the wall, the 2 of them laughing, her head thrown back like she didn't have a care in the world. She had been so certain, so foolishly, completely certain. She got her water. On the way back, her foot caught the edge of the mat. She grabbed the wall, caught herself, stood there shaking for 10 seconds, her heart throwing itself against her chest. The baby kicked hard, twice, urgent. "I'm fine. We're fine," she thought. She went back to bed. In the morning, she couldn't lift her head from the pillow. The headache had become a roar. The shimmer in her vision had become darkness at the edges, like someone slowly drawing curtains. She reached for her phone, called Mrs. Chukwu. "Come," she managed. In the living room, Emeka slept on. Mrs. Chukwu took one look at Ada's face and called her son to bring his car. She didn't knock on Emeka's door. She didn't ask him anything. She had stopped believing that man was part of any solution. At the hospital, the doctor used words Ada heard through water: eclampsia, critical, immediate delivery. They took the baby. A boy, small and furious, screaming before he was fully out of her, as if he had been trying to announce himself for months and was only now being allowed to. Ada heard him cry. She smiled, actually smiled, wide and real and from somewhere deep. "He's beautiful," she whispered to nobody. Then the monitor beside her toned its change. The nurses moved fast. A doctor was called, then another. The curtain was pulled. Somewhere outside the room, Mrs. Chukwu was praying aloud in Igbo, the kind of prayer that comes from the gut, not the head. Emeka arrived 40 minutes later. Mrs. Chukwu had called him after all in the end. He came in smelling faintly of last night, still in the same clothes, eyes red and confused. He stood in the hallway, and a young nurse came out and looked at him and then looked at the floor. "Sir," he asked where she was. The nurse took a breath. Outside, the city moved, buses and noise and people walking fast with nowhere important enough to be. A baby was crying somewhere down the corridor. The sound traveled through walls, through doors, into the hallway where a man stood and began slowly to understand the weight of every night he chose the bottle over the woman who chose him every single time. He sat down on the plastic hospital chair. He put his face in his hands. He was still sitting there 2 hours later when they brought his son to him, wrapped in white, eyes squeezed shut, fingers curled like tiny questions. He had her nose, her exact nose. He held him and did not speak, could not speak. Outside, the fan in the hallway turned slowly in the heat, and the door at the end of the corridor stayed closed, and no one came out of it. No one ever came out of it again. They named the boy Chukwumeka, meaning God has done great things. Ada had chosen the name 3 months before. She had written it in the small notebook she kept under her pillow, the one with lists of things she planned to do once the baby came. Cook better meals, take evening walks, try one more time to make him see her. The notebook was still under the pillow when Mrs. Chukwu went to pack her things. She held it for a long time before she put it in the bag. She did not cry. She was too tired, and Ada deserved more than tears. She zipped the bag. She took the baby home.